We have a lot to talk about. We're going to obviously continue the dialogue from Deprogram, where we were talking extensively about what happened in Minnesota and all the political and other implications thereof. Russia is also drawing a red line in the sand about possible NATO intrusion into Ukraine. That's going to be a major problem. There's Robby West. Hopefully we're up and running on YouTube and Rumble.
We are live. We are shaking.
All right. Always shaking. All right. So, So anyway, thanks for joining Robby and myself. We're here 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday here on the TMI show. I already mentioned that we're going to be talking about Russia and Ukraine. Story about Ozempic and other related GLP-1 weight loss drugs. Big study that you probably need to know about. Really, truly, this is news you need to know. The Heritage Foundation has a new plan to encourage you to pop out more kids. And finally, a story out of China involving makeup oppression, which I'm a little sad Manila's not going to be here to talk about that. But Robby, you'll have to do. Have you ever worn makeup?
I have never worn makeup. I do not have the same kind of fetish that JD Vance has. So no, I can honestly say that has never happened. I could probably use some, especially now that I'm getting older. But no.
I have never worn makeup either. Oh no, that's not true. I've been on TV.
I'm about to say you've been on TV. You've had to wear makeup to go and play.
I've had the pancake makeup. I hate it, man. I don't know. I would ban it. I don't think it's not good for you. It should be an illegal product because it fucks up your skin. Your pores can't breathe. When I wear that shit, I get zits like crazy afterwards. So it's just not a good idea.
Yeah, Kish doesn't wear makeup. She doesn't wear makeup at all.
No. Please like, follow, and share the show. Manila will be back next week at 10 o'clock Eastern time on Monday. And if you have any comments or questions during the live broadcast of the show, either on YouTube or Rumble, please pipe them in. Robby and I will get to them. Okay, so I have to apologize in advance for regular viewers. No Jaws today because Manila is the keeper of the Jaws, and there could be no Jaws without Manila. So
it would be cultural appropriation.
It would be. She, as we know, she's the jaw girl. Okay, so imagine a Jaws now. Okay, I'll read this first story. Moscow has made its position brutally clear. Western troops who set foot in Ukraine after any future Russia-Ukraine ceasefire will be treated as enemies. That warning comes after the UK and France signed a deal promising to send their own forces into Ukraine, not as peacekeepers, but as so-called security guarantees. In other words, the frogs and the Brits want to send in permanent military hubs, weapons stockpiles, and they want to have NATO facilities inside post-war Ukraine. Russia says that's not peace. It's just invasion with better branding. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova said that any British or French bases, weapons depots, or military units in Ukraine would be considered legitimate military targets by the Russian Federation. No ambiguity, no gray zone, no loopholes. The Kremlin sees the so-called coalition of the willing, just a throwback to the Iraq War, led by the UK and France as a way to quietly turn Ukraine into a NATO vassal state, a forward operating base after a ceasefire. Russia says that would threaten not only its own security, but Europe's. London and Paris argue the move is necessary to prevent the Russians from attacking again. But the Russians say that the war will only end if Ukraine becomes neutral, demilitarized, denazified, and formally accepts Russia's territorial claims in the eastern part, in the Donbass and other regions, conditions that the Ukrainians currently say they're not going to do. So the West wants armed deterrence. Russia says, no fucking way. Basically, things are pretty hot there. I would say this is one of those things where, Robby, I'm going to be on Team Russia. Look, here's the thing. The Russians are already nervous as shit that the Ukrainians deposed their allied president back in 2014 in a CIA Nazi-backed coup. They don't trust the Ukrainians. Why on earth would they trust the French and the Brits to be right fast on their border?
I wouldn't trust them. I mean, here's the part I don't understand when it comes to all these smart people. What part of being neutral is so difficult? No, what is so wrong with the Austrian model? If Ukraine's the size of Texas, it does its job based off of geography. No Russian troops are there. No European troops are there. No American troops are there. Everyone lives happily.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why it is, especially Europe. I mean, Europe came to protect itself. I mean, no, the United States is about to annex Greenland, and the Danes, all they can do is stomp their little itsy bitsy tiny feet and complain. At the meantime, they are trying to agitate for a war with Russia that they would need the United States to protect them in. I don't understand the cranial rectal infusion. That is an astonishing level of cognizant dissonance that I do not understand.
Well, I mean, it might. I mean, do you think it's possible that this is just a negotiating tactic? I mean,
Oh no,
on the part of this is a throwaway on the part of the Europeans.
no. I think that they're all in on it. I think that for whatever reason, they view that Russia is an existential threat. I don't know if it's because Russia is a proud nationalist nation, and when the countries in Western Europe are trying to get rid of nationalism. I don't know if it's because of its majority Christian. I don't know if it's a combination of the two, but for whatever reason, they just have a hard on. They want Russia to be defeated, and I don't understand why Russia needs to be defeated. I don't understand why Russia's an enemy.
I also don't understand. Here's the other thing I don't understand, right? Like, so what's the logic here, right? So the Brits and basically the Brits and the French are saying we need to be there to make sure the Russians don't invade it again. But okay, the Russians already invaded. If they agree to a ceasefire agreement that freezes the lines, I mean, okay, so at that point, they've agreed to it. If they wanted to keep the war going, they wouldn't agree to the ceasefire, right? So, like, and they could. I mean, it would probably be to their advantage to keep the war going because they're winning. So, so that's the part that I understand. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, the Russians decide, oh, well, we decided we want a bigger piece of the Ukrainian pie. 19% is not enough. We want 28%. Well, nothing's to prevent the West. I don't think the lines would move faster than they have been in the last few months, right? So there would be plenty of time for Ukraine's allies, including the UK and France, to send in troops at that time if they were so inclined. And certainly it is true. The other thing is it's a tripwire. I mean, let's just say you have a drunken French soldier who fires a shot across the line, or a drunken Russian soldier who fires a shot across the line. If UK and or France is there, these are NATO countries, there's an Article 5 obligation on the part of every other NATO state, including the United States, many of whom are nuclear armed states, to come to their defense. I mean, that's exactly why that's what the Russians were afraid of, why they don't want a NATO state on their border. This would turn Ukraine effectively into a NATO state. It would trigger an Article 5 response, the one thing that Putin is worried about. So I don't get this at all.
Well, I mean, that's the problem with alliances, right? Because what an alliance does at the end of the day, and this might be controversial, I'd be interested to hear your take and also the take of the people who are watching who live in Europe. What an alliance does is that allows a smaller, weaker power to leverage the power and military and political and everything else of the larger, more powerful members of the alliance. That's the problem with alliances. I don't understand why NATO is a thing. I think that Europe would honestly be safer without NATO if you had 28 sovereign countries acting on their own interests, as opposed to playing politics and trying to leverage a power that they simply do not have for goals that they cannot obtain on their own.
Well, Robby, I'm afraid it's not going to be as spicy on this topic as it was over immigration over at Deep Program. Because, Robby, I agree with you. I agree with you. I mean, this is just a, it's pure madness. Look, anybody who doesn't understand like how World War One started needs to read Barbara Tushman's the Guns of August. And it's like when you have that kind of entangled alliances, right, where an archduke takes a wrong turn and gets basically shot in the face by a random anarchist, and the next thing you know, the whole world is at war. That's how this happens.
Yep.
And I mean, I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I think this is a temporary thing. I think they know this will scuttle the deal. Trump doesn't want this deal scuttled. He wants the Russia-Ukraine thing settled because he wants that Nobel Peace Prize. This is the way he might get one. So I think this is it's not going to last. It's
Well,
not going to.
if Trump wants more Nobel Peace Prizes, he needs to invade more Latin American countries and set more puppets.
Exactly.
I mean, honestly, that's what needs to happen. No, I mean, serious. NATO should be abolished. NATO needs to go away. Its time has come. It is a relic. And frankly, Europe, it's time for y'all to start paying for your own defense. Honestly, it's time for y'all. It's been 80 years. It's time for y'all to remember who you are. It's time for y'all to remember what you are. Take your countries back. This globalist system y'all are trying to build is not working. Y'all need to return to nationalism. Honestly, declare independence from the EU. That's what needs to happen.
Okay, let's move on. Do you want to read the next one, or shall I?
Go ahead. I don't have it pulled up. Besides, I read slow.
All right, here we go. GLP weight loss drugs like Ozempic, Wegovy, and Zepbound have been sold as modern miracles. Eat less, crave less, lose pounds. And millions of Americans have. But here's the part that's not getting into the glossy ads. Once you stop, the weight doesn't just creep back, it sprints. A new meta review of 37 studies covering more than 9,300 people found that most users who quit GLP 1s return to their original weight in about 18 months. And it's not a slow relapse, it's a biological snapback. On average, people on Ozempic type drugs lose around 33 pounds. Within a year of stopping, however, they gain back about 22 pounds. Blood pressure, cholesterol, and other heart risk markers also slide back to pre-drug levels in about 17 months. In other words, the drug works only when you're taking it. Scientists say, well, we told you so. GLP-1s suppress hunger and slow down your digestion. They don't permanently change anything about the way your body handles fat. Once you stop taking the GLP-1s, your metabolism and appetite come roaring back like a spring-loaded trap. The body fights weight loss hard, it always has. That's evolution, because it used to be hard to get food. So the body was very jealous about keeping fat cells as long as possible. The review also found something more uncomfortable for the pharmaceutical narrative. People who use drugs regain the weight 4 times faster than people who lost their weight through diet and exercise. Behavior-based changes stick around longer. The drugs, you take the drugs, easy come, easy go. Or in this case, easy go, easy come. There's a reason that up to half of GLP-1 users quit within a year. The injections are expensive, uncomfortable, because they're injections, designed for lifelong use, whether anyone admits it or not. One thing like that, Robby, is also that nobody talks about is Invisalign. I tried Invisalign, and they don't tell you that you have, for the results to stick, you have to keep wearing a brace all night long the rest of your fucking life. I mean, if you knew that, if people are told basically like, oh, if your teeth get out of whack, you put on Invisalign, and then you do it for like a year or two, and then you're like, you're all fixed, and you are, as long as you wear that fucking brace all night long. That gross thing sticking up to the roof of your mouth. It's disgusting. Anyway, so the real future of GLP-1s is not weight loss, it's weight maintenance. Lower doses, fewer shots, pills instead of injections, because the fact is that these drugs don't cure obesity. They merely borrow from your future. The good news is that if you exercise on GLP-1s, you keep off a lot more weight than after you stop. The drug can buy you some time to build better habits, but if you don't, you become chubby again.
Right.
So that's kind of that's the real takeaway, right? Like, I guess it's sort of like you just get that you get that, not the word boost is not the right word, but you get thin if you're really mentally serious about, like, it's easier to exercise when you're thinner. You're going to have more energy. You're going to be lighter. Your feet and your knees aren't going to hurt as much if you run and stuff. So maybe you can do that, but then you got to keep doing it.
No, I agree. I think yeah, I've thought about this because my wife, full disclosure, she's on one of these kind of medicines because she's after our son was born, she got diabetes, and she's just been fighting with it now
Mm,
for over 16 years, and so she's on no, she's not on Ozempic, she's on one of its competitors,
mm,
and for her, it's not for weight loss, it's to help manage her diabetes, and the people who are using it
yeah,
for weight loss, I think it's because they don't have the discipline. For example, if you are a martial arts master and someone pisses you off because you have that power because you're a master at your craft, you have the discipline not to use it because it's baked in.
hmm
So no, someone comes up and they cut in line there in New York City. You're not going to break the dude's neck because he cut in line. You're disciplined enough not to do it. The discipline when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to these drugs, is like going out and getting a Saturday night special. There's no discipline involved.
right. Your mindset has not
Yeah.
changed.
I mean, does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, I think it totally does. I mean, so I guess it can give you that. It can make building that, it can help you
You get the
transition to better
result.
habits, but ultimately the better habits are up to you.
Yeah. I mean, you get the results without the work. That's the problem.
Hmm.
And I think that's part of the reason why so many of our politicians in DC suck is that they're there, they're standing on the shoulders of giants who came before them, and they're squandering what was given to them. I think that's probably inherited wealth is the same way. You don't have the discipline to build the business, but you have the fruit of what was given to you, so you squander it and you lose it all.
Yeah, yeah. No doubt about that. I mean, I gotta say, to me, this is not totally new. I mean, I had heard when I first looked into it. I mean, I needed to lose some weight, and still could stand to. And it was like, when I looked into it, and they said, "Well, when you stop, you got to kind of keep taking it forever." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Look, I'm old enough to remember fen. It's like there's always been these drugs that, like, haven't been around for very long, and then it turns out like it's bullshit. I don't want anything that requires me to keep taking it the rest of my fucking life. I don't want to end up like my mom with her shoebox full of drugs, where
Yeah.
you have to take, this drug will, this Lipitor will help your liver. Oh, but it'll have this side effect. So you'll take this other drug to help you deal with the side effect. Oh, you're impotent now. Oh, well, we'll give you, we'll ramp you up on Levitra, to, deal with that. Oh, the Levitra has a side effect. Now you have high blood pressure. We'll give you a blood pressure medication. Oh, I know, more Lipitor. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just sort of like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and to make matters worse, no, I'm not working at the hospital anymore. Our insurance used to be through my job there at Logan Health. Well, that's gone now. And
Mm,
so, Kizzy, she's been on this medicine for 8 plus years. And so you have to go, of course, if you get a new insurance, you have to go through and get a new prior authorization. So the insurance pays for the medicine. So these fuckers denied her. So the medicine that she needs, she can't get because of the insurance companies. And so it's a vicious cycle. It really sucks, and that's a major problem is that people who are on these medications, God help them if they ever have to change insurance because there's no guarantee that the insurance company they go to is going to keep paying for it. And Kizzy, she's very sick because of it. I mean, she's sick, and it's not good.
yeah, I mean, it's like,
They'll use it for cosmetics.
Yeah, I mean that's like the I mean it's almost like a military model, right? Like or like what are those things called? Like or like razor blades, right? Like
Yeah,
oh you know the cartridges are really expensive. The razor blades cheap as shit.
yeah,
And basically we just keep you addicted and you have to keep buying it for the rest of your life.
yeah. I mean, it's nuts because the next month, no, my wife, she has to have, major surgery, and I don't know what that's going to look like right now. And she was at her OB doctor yesterday, and one of the medicines that she needs help her prep for the surgery she can't get. And they're like, "Well, we don't know if we'll be able to do the surgery or not now because of this, and there's a real risk of cancer." And so we're just trying to look at all the options. I'm telling you, if you're overweight, if you're fat, and if you think that some kind of magic pill is going to be your savior, uh, it's not going to be. Do the Ted Rall method. Go run, go walk, do something, get active. Don't become a slave to some godless company that's going to peddle this stuff to you like a crack dealer because they do not care about you. You're a product.
I do think we need we need some. I mean, I agree with that. I think we also really need some some government regulation. I mean, there's it's very fucked up that like you can they can release stuff to the public under the FDA that hasn't been really well tested. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it's like nobody really knew any of this until after millions of people were put on it.
No,
It just doesn't seem right.
no, it's completely wrong. It's market capture is what it is. That's what it is. It's you get this medication, and like I said, Kizzy, she's not doing this for cosmetics. She's doing this to help her treat the diabetes, and now she's looking at having to have a total hysterectomy, or she runs a very real risk of getting cancer. And so now it's just all up in the air, and it sucks. That's one of the unintended consequences of me getting doxxed.
I'm really sorry about that. Well, hopefully we can make more money and maybe people can kick some more money into Robby Aid over on Deprogram. Just go to GoFundMe and go to Deprogram Robby to if you feel so inclined to help out there. Yeah,
No,
I'm
our
not going
entire
to do GLP ones unless unless I'd have to be desperate. But I mean, I'd have to be. I mean, look, if you weigh like 350 pounds or something, I think you should consider yourself a desperate person.
Oh, I
Um,
completely agree. And you know what? That if you're worried about Luigi Mangionis, this is how you get more Luigi Mangionis. If you're worried about things just really falling apart, just keep fucking around the way that you are. And that this is for these company executives.
Good times. Good times. All right, let's do another story. The Heritage Foundation, the same crew behind Project 2025, has a new obsession: your marriage, your bedroom, and your baby count. Robbie, I have a feeling you have thoughts. Their newly released blueprint called Saving America by Saving the Family
Mhm.
argues that the United States isn't just facing a demographic slump, it's suffering a cultural collapse because not enough people are getting married, not enough women are having babies, and someone in Washington needs to help take care of that. Their proposed solution is a government run marriage and birth industrial complex. Heritage Foundation suggests, among other things, cash bonuses for married couples who stay together. This is kind of an old idea, like the Soviet Union and
Yeah.
Nazi Germany and other countries have done that. Extra tax credits for families with 3 or more kids, government funded savings accounts that only unlock when you get married, marriage boot camps. By the way, like Libya would pay for your wedding under Muammar Gaddafi. Um, Alimony caps, work requirements for welfare, limits on porn, social media, and dating apps. I don't know if you can limit porn under the First Amendment. A national day of rest to force family time. Yes, force family time. They even flirted with punishing adultery, banning porn outright, and giving parents extra votes for their kids before getting rid of those ideas from the final draft. But basically, the government would be in your bedroom. Heritage is proposing a $280 billion in new federal spending to socially engineer Americans into getting busy and getting knocked up. They say falling birth rates threaten the economy. Critics say that it's religious morality wrapped in spreadsheets, ignoring why people delay families, which is housing costs, childcare, student loan, and other debt, stagnant wages. Even other conservatives say the plan isn't really real. One former fellow of the Heritage Foundation said it misdiagnoses the problem and then throws massive government money at it anyway. They say it's not about helping families; it's really about controlling them. Anyway, that's the deal. It's interesting. I like the fact that people are at least having thoughts and ideas to do things differently. What do you think, Robby?
I'm probably going to surprise you. I think that the Heritage Foundation is completely out to lunch on this. I think they're dead wrong. It's an economic issue. I mean, the reason why people are delaying, getting married and not having as many kids is twofold. One, because of the cost of living, because wages are going down. How do you fix the wage problem? You fix it with immigration. There it is. There's your magic bullet that will force wages to go up, because when something gets scarce, it gets more expensive. And by reducing the labor pool, you then increase the value of labor. So that fixes that problem. And in abortion, I mean, I don't understand why people think that killing your future workforce is a viable economic model. If you limit immigration, that kind of fixes that problem.
Although following what you just said, Robby, isn't it true that if people are reluctant to have kids because of these economic things that you mentioned, that abortion is a major part of that, because people get pregnant unexpectedly, and then
100%.
and then they're like, I can't. A lot of people say, I wanted to have a kid, I just can't afford to have a kid.
100%. Now, fixing the wages. Listen, if you fix wages, if we fix our monetary system, 90% of abortions, I predict, would end. Probably even more. It's because
a lot would, a significant percentage.
It's because people just feel like they can't afford to have kids. Which, newsflash, you can't. And it's because the American middle class is being pillaged.
Yeah,
I mean, that is the problem. It has nothing to do with people not wanting to have kids. It's that they can't afford to do it. For example, let's just say logistically, if you're working a full-time job and a part-time job just to pay your bills and rent, forget about savings, forget about putting anything away for the future. When you get home, are you physically going to have the energy to take your wife to bed and get her pregnant? Most people's answer is going to be no. Or if you're working and then you come home, especially if you're doing shift work, if you work in the morning and the wife works in the evening, she gets home. Logistically, it just doesn't work.
You're literally ships passing in the night.
Yeah, you are. It is the problem. It is the economic model. That's what has to be. That's what has to change. It's not a moral problem. It's that Augustus Caesar, he famously said that you fleece the sheep, you don't fillet them. Our government is filleting the sheep. That's the problem. It's economic.
I'm not going to argue with that. I mean, I guess the thing is, here's a question. Should the government be encouraging sluttiness?
No.
Because, more sex, more kids.
Well, that's true, but also you also want to look downstream, right? Because what's going to determine if the biggest chance for a kid to grow up in to be a productive member of society is by having your mom and your dad at home, and having that standard family model, more often than not, is going to give a kid a head up in life. They're going to learn discipline by their dad. They're going to learn how to be nurturing and loving by the mother. They're going to learn empathy and a work ethic. You and me, I mean, we beat the odds. I mean, that's a fact. Most people who grew up the way that we did, we would not be having the kind of lives that we have right now. More often than not, they end up in jail or just working some kind of a dumb job, and that's all they're able to do. The way that you set someone up to have the best possible chance at a future is by growing up with your mom and your dad and having a lot of kids, and you learn how to be productive. You learn that you don't always get what you need. That you learn that you don't always get what you want. You have to learn how to work with society because you're probably got brothers and sisters. That's going to teach you how to interact with people socially. Going out and being a man whore or being a slut doesn't do that.
Mhm.
It's not just about humans. It's about having a skill set that's going to let you excel in a non-agrarian society where you got to have some kind of a skill.
I mean, Robby, here's a question, and I think it's maybe more of an Achilles Larea question. So next time we have him on, I'm going to try to remember to ask him about this. But okay, so is it a valid assumption that we really are? I mean, look, we are going to see a population drop. Elon's right about that.
Mhm.
That the demographics of it are clear. Even if we were to resume Biden level immigration policies, you're still going to have a population decline in the United States. But does it matter? I mean, with AI and automation, the average American worker per capita is more productive than ever before. I mean, isn't the real solution? Is it possible that we don't really have a future population loss problem? What we really have is a mental shift problem, where we think that in order to pay your bills, you have to have money. In order to have money, you have to have a job. But
Right.
maybe you don't. Maybe we're at the point, like in an old science fiction show like Star Trek, we are at the point where we can say and should say, the companies and the rich can still make money and still generate profits under capitalism by letting a substantial percentage of the population not work, or cut everyone's hours in half so they don't have to work as much. And if they don't do that, they're going to have social unrest and political problems and civil war that's going to make it harder for the capitalists to make a profit.
Yeah, I think what you just said is right. I'm not sure how you I'm not sure how you get there. Like, no, what I would like to see is that the government give a rebate to taxpayers. Again, that's the word taxpayers. Where if our government is fiscally responsible, kind of treat it like a corporation almost. Where at the end of the year you get profit sharing in the form of dividends or UBI or whatever based on the amount of tax dollars it is that you give, because that's going to incentivize the voters to keep government in check by not overspending. So I think that's one way that could work. I think that would be one of the ways that you would be able to win over right wingers. I think if you just get the Federal Reserve though, just to start firing up the printing presses and just printing out a UBI, I think long term that's just going to weaken the purchasing power of every dollar in existence, and it's not going to solve anything. It's just going to exacerbate it.
Well, I don't think you don't have to print money in order to do a UBI. You just
Or
you could reallocate spending from wasteful stuff like defense.
oh,
Speaking of which, there's
I
some
completely
breaking
agree.
news. Pope Leo the 14th has just issued a statement that seems to be directed against President Trump. He condemned diplomacy based on force and a zeal for war in a statement that just came out from the Vatican. And also, speaking of which, the U.S. just seized a fifth oil tanker in the Caribbean. Obviously,
Pirates are going to pirate.
Arr!
I
Yeah,
mean, honestly, Trump should be impeached.
I
Trump
agree.
should be impeached. I mean, what he is doing, if you know a Republican and if they're supporting what Trump is doing, and then they claim that they are a small government conservative who opposed the things that Biden and Obama did, call them out on their hypocrisy because there's no difference.
Although, Robby, I mean, I'm going to go further here, right? Like, impeachment isn't really just because you don't like a president's policies, or it
Because it's
shouldn't
violating
be.
the law.
It should be because, yeah, it's because he's gone rogue and he's
Yeah,
outside of the norms of the American system, and that's true here. I mean,
yeah,
this he's this president is waging wars, engaging in regime change without even consulting with, much less obtaining permission from Congress.
agreed.
He's lying about the reasons to the American people, who and their representatives. The stuff that he's doing it's really out of control, and it's something that should cause grievous offense to Democrats and Republicans in Congress alike. It shouldn't be like, oh, I don't like Donald Trump's policies. It should just be like, you're doing shit you're not allowed to do.
Yeah. because there will be a president after Donald Trump, and that president will have the power that Trump has taken for himself. That's the concern.
And
That's
that
the
well, that's the
problem.
lesson of history. That's always true every fucking time.
Of course it
Um,
is. So, it's just like the people on deprogrammed who are just kind of getting pissed off at me over ICE and immigration and stuff, saying that I support an imperial presidency. That's the last thing I want.
do we think marriage is good for the economy or for society? Like, for example,
It's good for society.
should we I mean, there is currently a marriage benefit, like for being married in the tax code, especially if a man and a woman or two people are married who have kind of disparate incomes. They pay fewer taxes. Um, what about? I do think marriage boot camp is a good idea. Um, before I got married, I went to pre-Cana and the Catholic thing, and they had all sorts of really great exercises that I thought everybody who gets married should have to go through. Like, for example, they were like, okay, without consulting with your fiance, go to the left side of the room if you want to have 0 or 1 children,
Mhm.
or go if you want 2 or more, go to the right side of the room. Is your spouse on the same side of the room as you are? If not, you guys need to have a conversation. And they did lots of exercise like, would you rather buy or rent a home? Or, if you haven't had that conversation, have that conversation.
Right.
That's a good idea.
No, I agree. And I mean, for us, Kizzy and me were both religious. We go to this old small little Baptist church here in town, and for us, it's important. And whenever we got married, of course, we got married while we were still in Florida, but we were still the Baptists at the time. And the preacher we talked to is just like, so here's the hierarchy. So it's like, no, first it's God, and then it's the man, and there's the wife. So then there's the children. So that's hierarchy of leadership or responsibility. That being said, the woman's opinion has to be, she's a helpmeet. She's there to help you. Like, you're not supposed to be a dictator. And so that's how we just kind of that's how we do things. We talk things over. My decision is ultimately the decision that carries the day, but we talk things out. And Kizzy's a lot more, though, she's a lot more even-minded than I am. Uh, I tend to a little bit more fiery, just a little bit more, just damn the
No,
torpedoes.
really,
But
really, that's come such a shock.
yeah, I know, right? But no, but Kizzy, she kind of no, she levels that out. It's like, well, okay, I see what you're saying, but Robbie, what's your plan? Like, how are we going to do this? But then we agree on it, and then it's just like I have the final say. I pick the option that's going to be, and that's not a popular thing here in the West anymore. Like, people would say that, Robbie, you're being chauvinist or whatever. Fine, whatever. That's the biblical model, and I mean, this year be married 20 years with 2 great kids. I think that's I think that's a big part of it is actually having to understand that marriage is a partnership, but someone has to make the decision that somebody should be the husband, and then the wife should support it. And you don't have to you don't have, everything doesn't have to be a fight. Home should be a sanctuary. It shouldn't be where you go and just after a long hard day of work and dealing with a bunch of crap, then you go home and fight with your spouse. Just learn to talk to each other and then just make the decision.
Well, I know that there are people who will have issues with that, but
Oh, for sure.
we're not going to here to talk. We're not. That's not really the issue here. And our last story here, a Chinese woman was allegedly forced to take off her heavy makeup after facial recognition scanners at the airport failed to confirm her identity. A short clip, by the way, when I remember like years ago. 2007 is when this happened. I entered China from Tajikistan, and so this was a remote border crossing, a land crossing, mainly local people. They had iris retina scanners, and they were like, it was like idiocracy. You had to jam your eyeball up onto this rusty hole. It was so sketchy,
Crazy.
so sketchy. Anyway, a short clip showing a young woman using wet wipes to clean her face from makeup while being scolded by airport staff went viral on Chinese social media, sparking many, many funny comments. According to the boarding pass shown in the video next to her ID, the video was shot in September of 2025 at Shanghai International Airport. but only recently attracted attention on the internet. During the clip, the woman holding the camera, probably an airport official, scolds the young girl, telling her she needs to wipe off, "You take off all makeup," until she looks like the picture on her identification document. "Wipe everything off until you look like your passport photo. Why would you do your makeup like that? You are asking for trouble," the voice behind the camera says. It's unclear whether the woman eventually passed the facial recognition scan, but there were many comments on social media. "It's not like she was able to walk around with a filler in real life, right?" one person asked. Others agreed with the young woman, saying that she already looked embarrassed enough. There was no and that there was no reason for the airport lady to nag her about her makeup. Others wondered if the makeup should be something that modern facial recognition scanners should be able to deal with. No matter how thick the makeup is, the face shouldn't be unrecognizable, right? Isn't it time to upgrade your equipment? One person wondered. We reported a similar incident a while back when several Chinese women had problems entering the country after flying to South Korea for facial plastic surgery, which changed them so much that the facial recognition software could not recognize them. Um, well, I hate facial recognition software and think it should be
Same.
illegal. Um, that said, I would say that even in an authoritarian country like China, uh, look, I'd say like it's not our responsibility to help the agents of the state oppress us and identify us. Like if they want to do that, that's on them. So, for example, when I drive across a bridge in the New York metro area, you'll see these flashing lights as you cross. Those are facial recognition software. They take the picture of every single car that goes across. When I approach that thing, I lower my visor and put my hand up in front of my face. Now, it's still my car. They have my license plate, but I'm like, you can oppress me, you can scan my face, but I'm not going to make it easy for you. And it's like if they pass a law saying that like you're not allowed to do that, I'm like, fuck you. That's on you. You want to oppress me, like, but I'm not going to help you. I feel like even in China, that's on the Chinese government. Like you guys, you want to oppress better. Don't ask people to take off their makeup.
No, I agree, and I'm about to show my ignorance because I'm a pasty white guy in the hinterlands of Montana. I didn't know that Chinese women wore that much makeup. I mean, I thought they were already just good looking and pretty women. Like, why do you need to put a layer of cake on your face? What's the point? You're good looking enough. You don't need it.
Well, China, not all Chinese women are good looking. I mean, it's like here. I mean, there's a bell curve. There's hideously ugly ones. There's
Well,
beautiful
sure.
ones,
I
and
mean,
there's everything in between.
well, no, I mean, I get that. I don't know. I mean, I
Some
just
wear
always
some wear a lot of makeup. Some are very natural. Some are in between. Most are in
it
between.
is it because of cultural exchange from the West, like Western beauty standards have made it East. Is
Well,
that a
Western
part of it?
beauties have made it east. For example, like white is the color of death or funerals in China, traditionally. But so traditionally, Chinese women got married in red dresses. And because of the American and the Western influence with our white wedding dress, increasingly Chinese women get married in white wedding gowns. That's just an example. So
Gotcha.
the aesthetics do spread, but also makeup is you've seen traditional like Chinese paintings from hundreds of years ago.
Oh yeah, with
Um, the upper
the red
classes
lipstick and
often,
stuff.
yeah, the upper classes always had lots of makeup.
I don't know. I mean, to me, it's just silly. Like, if you got to put on that much makeup because you feel that insecure about yourself, I mean, you need to. Honest to God, you need to take a good hard look at that, because at the end of the day, you're going to take that off, and if you're not happy with what you see in the mirror, it doesn't matter what is it you doll up. Look at me. Look at this face. I wake up to it every morning. I mean, it is what it is, and no amount of makeup is ever going to change that. Just you got to learn how to just to be comfortable in your own skin. I don't
Well, I
get
don't
it.
think makeup's good for you, and I
No,
don't
it's
think
not.
it's bad for your skin. I mean, it's like you're not breathing. It's like not natural. Look, I'm against it. I hate it. I mean, I could definitely see, like, let's say you had like a horrible scar, you'd been in an industrial accident, you were covered with acid. Okay, sure. I could see why makeup could
But that makes
make
sense.
you feel better in that situation.
I completely agree. It's just, I mean, just for this, but I mean, just for the sake of wearing it, I don't understand the point. But here's another question for you. I just was thinking about this. Here in the United States, we like to style ourselves as the land of the free and the home of the brave. So here's a question I have for you, honestly, because you've traveled a lot more than I have. Which citizenry is more free, the American citizenry or the citizenry in China? Who has more freedom?
That's a good question. I mean,
I mean,
I
the
would.
fact that even has to be asked
It
shows how far
depends.
we've fallen.
Well, it depends, right? I mean, so it depends on how you. I mean, so if I want to draw a political cartoon making fun of the president of my country, I'm probably going to have a better shot at getting it published here than I would of doing the same thing in China, right? I mean, no Chinese newspaper is going to publish a cartoon ridiculing President Xi. So there's that. On the other hand, how many people ever want to do that, right? I mean,
Right.
like, so there's most people just want to live their lives. Most people, they'll comment on politics like on the internet or in private, and so in that sense, it's not very different. And I guess here you have fewer social guarantees. Like, so do you, are you really free, for example, to go to college if it costs $100,000 a year?
Of course not.
Or are you free to get to get medical treatment, as we talked about in the segment about GLP-1s? It's like if you're broke, poverty is not free, and the Chinese have more social guarantees. So I'd say it's probably 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Do those social guarantees that China gives, do you think that works as a muzzle to keep the population compliant for risk of losing what you have? Does that kind of help keep the population in its lane?
Um, I wouldn't go. I don't think it's that cynical. I mean, most countries in the world have more social guarantees have more of a social safety net than we do, and they have a variety of systems. I think it's about social cohesion. It's about political support. It's like basically it's the government offers it's a deal, like in exchange for you paying us taxes and allowing us to grift, we will provide you with certain things, right? It's a protection racket. That's what most governments do. Um, they pay fewer taxes and get more back than we do. I think they just have a better deal. We get some things back. I mean, obviously, but we just don't get much. It seems like
We don't get anything back.
It's a bad deal. They build roads. If your house sets on fire, eventually the fire department will come and not charge you. I mean, you get some things. You get public education.
But then though you can't get another house. So
Right,
I mean, your house.
That's true.
Then you get to live homeless after the fire department puts your.
See, that's your freedom. That's your freedom that you have. You can live anywhere you want outside. Well, not really. You can't really.
Yeah, but to say, I mean, outdoor encampments and depending on where you live, Mother Nature she'll veto that, too. Like you don't want to be homeless in Montana this morning.
No, I would certainly think not. So, I mean, that is a funny story, and I mean,
humiliating this girl at the airport. I think that was just a dick move. It's probably just a guy who hates his job.
Oh, I'm sure it's a woman who did it. I'm sure they have
so?
women. I'm sure they have women search women and men search men.
Oh, I can 100% see that. And women can be catty as hell.
Oh yeah, they're the worst.
All right. I am so glad I don't have a woman boss anymore. Oh. And I mean that since from the bottom of my heart. I never, ever want to work for a woman again. I swear to God.
I hate to say this, but I feel the same way. Yeah. I've never had a good experience with a woman boss. So, yeah, they don't know what I mean, it's not that they don't know what they're doing. It's that they don't know how to build loyalty. The thing is they have to take the fall for you sometimes.
Yeah, there's no buy-in.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll call it a show. Where you're going to go out before we're not obligated to fill up a full hour. We don't owe you an hour. We're going to kick off 7 fucking full minutes early for the weekend, Robby.
Yeah, so that works. Unless you want to dust it up over ice again.
I'm tired. I need coffee. All right. So
coffee is good.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. Really appreciate you. Thanks for joining the TMI show. TMI show is here 10 a.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. Manila Chan will be back in the co-host's chair on Monday. Hope you and her and everyone else is about to have a great weekend. See you later. Bye, Robby. Always a pleasure. And I've got to set things up so that it plays the outro properly. And here we go. And bye. Oh, or not.